What is up, everyone? Team Rival back again. Gonna do another trifecta of videos for you, so I'm trying to, get a little bit more consistency going because, why the hell not? But, it's difficult with school and everything and work and just my schedule and life in general for me to do videos all the time. So, whatever. So far, so good. We'll see if I can keep this up. But anyways, today I want to talk to you about something that I've always just kind of noticed as of recently, and it's always pissed me off because I'm a hardcore, old school gamer in terms of pretty much everything. Music, I find 16-bit music much more catchier and it can kind of stick in your head more so than the games. Music nowadays, it doesn't really resonate in my head too well. Difficulty, of course, and that's the topic of today, is difficulty, is just how easy are these games nowadays. They practically hold your fucking hands. Okay, first of all, why do we need 75,000 million checkpoints in a level? I'm looking at you, pretty much, in Gears of War 3 and every Gears of War to come out, in Call of Duty and Halo. Is it just the checkpoint, 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 checkpoint? Why do we have this necessity of just being like, alright, save, save, save? It can't be like, oh, save here. Maybe you have to play 5 minutes or 10 minutes of a level, and then maybe it'll save. So that, checkpoints in general I think are a pretty good idea, We have the technology to do save points nowadays, so we should do them. But we don't need to do them at this interval of where it's just constantly saving all the goddamn time. We can tone it down a little bit. We can kind of just let it, like I said, just let it roll for a little. Sometimes if you can't beat a level, it's just ridiculous, because practically you just need to run to the next point. It's not even as if you need to complete an objective. I think in Halo it's more objective based, whereas in a game like Gears of War or Call of Duty, it's just how far you've actually progressed in a level. So you don't have to necessarily kill everyone, but you need to run to a certain point. And that's pretty much defeats the purpose of even playing the game. It's more of a fucking sprinting contest than anything else for some people. Me, I just kill everything because I'm a fucking boss. You gotta add some sort of difficulty somewhere. And it's just, and the fucking recharging health systems. Okay, let's sit this idea down, on the table, look at this idea, and fucking process what is going on here, because it baffles me. Okay, take an old school shooter like James Bond, or even not so much old school, but just I think more so old school in concept, Half-Life. Let's sit these shooters down and let's look at their health systems. James Bond had the watch on the side, you know what I'm saying? So one was for body armor if you had body armor, and the other was for actual health. And if you got shot, it would drop, and if it dropped all the way to the bottom, what happens? You die. Okay, good concept. Half-Life also had a body armor system, but it was just a base, numerical number. And as you got shot, the number dropped. So you had an idea of how far you were before you were going to die. Good concept. Made the game challenging, because sometimes you had to be so... I'm not too sure, I can't remember if in Half-Life if it regenerated at all, over a set interval. But let's look at these shooters nowadays. Gears of War, fucking Call of Duty. They get shot with 7,500 bullets, and they're just if you give them a little bit of time, the bullets will just magically regenerate out of their bodies. How does this even make sense? Who invented this concept of recharging health? In some games, I think it's okay. In Halo, I think it's a good idea just because, what is Master Chief? He's not he has it's so far in the future that it doesn't even matter. But Call of Duty is pretty much set in modern times. Why are these people regenerating, being shot? There should be some sort of health pack system or regeneration system. Same thing with Battlefield, but I do give Battlefield a little bit more credit because it does have the defibrillators, so you can like pump the person and they'll get back up, or you can throw down a med kit and you can regenerate health that way. Because in Battlefield you do retain some of the damage, although it's not anything too excessive at times. But why? Why are we regenerating health? And third is just the lack of overall just like difficulty in the game. It's just like they give you tutorials up the ass. They fucking, I mean, Nintendo, this idea, it's not, I can't really bash it too much because you can choose to not play it, but there's the super, what is it, the super guide or the whatever it's called, where they beat the level for you. That shit's ridiculous. I'm sorry, that should not be allowed, especially in a Nintendo game. In these Nintendo games, I mean, granted, I did find Donkey Kong Country Returns a little bit harder than they make the Nintendo games. Like, it wasn't like I had fucking 99 lives like I did in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Like, this is ridiculous. Why are people even bothering with this? It's just beat the level. You'll beat it eventually. Do you not have patience? Are you on a schedule? No, you're not on a schedule. You are meant to enjoy the game. So, just enjoy the game. Don't fucking put this stupid level guide bullshit. Just let the person play through the level, and if it doesn't happen, you know, it wasn't meant to be. And they can move on with their lives, because obviously if they can't beat the fucking Mario game, they have better things to do than be fucking playing video games. Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. And why have all of these simplicities and games just made simpler? It's pretty much due to the fact, and you'll, once you hear my reasoning, you'll be like, of course, like, obviously, you know, I already knew that, I just never actually, you know, thought about it. It's because games have become more of a mainstream product. Back in the 90s and back in the 80s, when games were around, they were considered like a subculture. Like, not a lot of people liked games, you know, it was considered nerdy, if that's what you want to call it, or losers, or whatever the fuck you want to, you know. It's for geeks. But, nowadays, gaming, who doesn't have an Xbox 360? Who doesn't have a PS3? Pretty much if you have, you know, kids in your house, there will be some sort of video game or you know, sort of game playing console, whether it be a PC or otherwise. So how do you capitalize on this market? You have to make the games more, you know, accessible to people, you know, in general. And they're not going to want to play the game if there's not 7,500 million checkpoints. You can't recharge health, so they can't beat the damn first level because they're just so terrible at video games that just God help them. Like, just beyond the comprehension of, like, dual analogs. Like, I've met people who don't understand the concept of twin analogs. Like, one is to move and one is to look around. Put them together, it's like looking around and moving at the same time. Like, you do it in real life. Why can't you do it? I don't know, some people's brains are just shut off to that kind of shit. And really, even just RPGs. I just don't find RPGs hard anymore. If you want to give me a hard RPG, let me play Final Fantasy 1, where like the menus are cumbersome and it's fucking... If you buy an item, you have to like... Each person has an individual inventory and it's like nothing. Because it's such a... Like, that's a hard game to me. Nowadays, Final Fantasy was just frustrating. All you had to do was level. And that's pretty much the problem with difficulty in RPGs, is that every problem is solved by leveling, pretty much. It's not that the AI in the game is actually like a good AI and can fuck you up and then fuck up your weaknesses and hit who's down. It's just, oh, whatever, let's just fucking... We'll go with it. And just make hard... Boost the stats up, give them lots of stats, give them lots of HP. And, yeah, that'll be a difficult boss. It's not, let's make an intelligent AI. And pretty much it just boils down to video games suck nowadays. I really think, and there, I do feel an impending sort of, you know, video game crash reminiscent of what happened in the 80s. I feel like that might happen just because of all of this motion gaming and peripheral buying and trying to get you to buy into shit. And I think people are just going to get tired of it, or not going to be able to afford it, or new technology such as the iPads and that sort of shit is going to come, and video games are just going to crash. So, I mean, they really need to more so appeal to the hardcore gamers, and that so involves upping the difficulty of these games. Because not only if you like make the difficulty higher, you will thereby also increase like the actual time being put into the game. Because with Call of Duty, that's like a 10-hour campaign, if that, and you can just fucking run through that shit. Oh, you'll die occasionally, but you won't die too much. Maybe you'll die like twice at one part. It'll never be like 20 deaths or 10 deaths at one part. You will get through that part. You know, granted, if you're playing on a harder difficulty. But what is a harder difficulty? Oh, a few more guys spawn. You take hits easier, so you're down in like 2 shots instead of like 5 or 6 or whatever you want to call it. But I'm just disappointed. All these rant videos just come down to me being disappointed, and these are things I should be disappointed in. I should be able to expect, even when I buy a game like Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, that game should be a difficult game, because it's Ninja Gaiden. That's what, you know, is synonymous with Ninja Gaiden, is difficulty. And I put it in, and I breezed through the whole entire game. And at that point, I was just like, I've had enough. This is not acceptable. Let's make this shit harder. You know, don't hold my hand. Give me, even if you're gonna give me recharging health, give me, you know, a number of lives I can use on the level before I have to like restart from the beginning or something like that. You know, use that sort of, bring back some of the old school elements of games into like the new school, and you know what, give people options if they want to play with lives on or off. You know, that's such a simple thing you can program into a game, because all you do is like change a variable. Instead of making it unlimited, you give it a set number based on what the user sets it. It's not this huge, like, synonymous, like, I can't grasp this concept and it's going to take forever to code, you know, the number of lives you can have in a video game. Let the user have the option of having it on or off, and then whatever they want to set the value to. That's a great idea, and it's a very simple idea, like I said. Let's bring some old school difficulty, you know, and put it back into the new school games. It's just, games have no depth, you know, there's nothing, the controls and just the basic concept of the game is so simple that it takes you 5 minutes to pick it up and play. Because that's what they want for the mainstream gamers, is they want to make it so that they can just pick it up and they'll play it, and they'll play it for a lot, and they'll put money into it with fucking map packs, aka Call of Duty, and they will be bajillionaires. And that's exactly what's happened. So they need to, you know, that's where fighting games come in, because fighting games are pretty much, if you're going to have a good time in a fighting game, is going to be whether or not you're actually good at it. So you have to put time into it. If it's a good fighting game and has good mechanics, you will be able to sink your teeth into it really and get a good feel for it. And I've done that with a lot of games. I've done that with like Hokuto no Ken on PlayStation 2, the Arc System Works game. I've sunk a lot of time into that game. I used to not be that good at it, but then I kind of, you know, started seeing how the game kind of goes together, and now I think I can kick some serious ass. You know, granted not on a tournament level, but pretty much anyone who has the game and plays it casually like me. And that's what games need. They need that like sink. A lot of these games just have no depth off the campaign, and in multiplayer it's just bullshit. You don't want to play multiplayer, and $60 out the window. There's nothing. You need something to really like put your hands into and like get dirty with it and like see how it works with the core mechanics and everything like that. And then that's how I think you make a good video game, and that's how you avoid kind of this impending crash. I think that's going to happen in video games like within the next maybe 10 years. Who knows? It could happen at any moment, I think. But anyways, that's pretty much my rant on difficulty and just lack thereof in games nowadays. Just really, why not? Why not have harder games? Why does everything have to be so mainstream? There's still a subsect of us that are hardcore gamers, and we're not getting what we want, and we're getting pissed. And I'm not going to buy video games, you know, soon, because it's not going to be worth it. But that's it, guys. I'm out of here. See you later.